Your discipline isn't fixing this, it's training it. If I can handle it, is the sentence you reach for. Every time your body sends you a signal, this is for you. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact cycle that sentence is training, why your three biggest strengths are the ones running it, and the one response that actually interrupts it. I know this sentence personally. I can handle it. I said it for 20 years as a combat medic, and 30 more building businesses. Two different worlds that both rewarded exactly one instinct. Keep going. Before I was diagnosed with severe Crohn's disease, I spent years not knowing what was wrong and getting very good at hiding how bad it actually was, including from myself. I kept working. I kept showing up until the system that had always gotten me through finally reached the edge of what it could carry, and I lost the ability to walk. Not for a day, for a significant stretch of my life. What turned it around wasn't a new technique. It was finally applying to myself the exact process I'd spent years using to help everyone else. There's a pattern I write about in my book. I call her Lori. The details are changed to protect privacy, but the pattern itself is one I've watched happen, almost exactly like this, more times than I can count. Lori was the person everyone trusted when things got complicated. She led calmly. She stayed composed under pressure. She rarely gave herself permission to fall apart. On the morning of an important presentation, Lori woke before her alarm. Before she checked the time, before she reached for her phone, before she remembered the first meeting on her calendar, she checked her body, neck, back, head, stomach. There it is. Not unbearable. Not enough to cancel anything, but enough to pull part of her attention away from the day, before the day had even started. A thought moved through her, quiet enough that she'd never say it out loud. I cannot afford this today. She got up. She showered. She reviewed her notes. She joined the first call with a steady voice. From the outside, no one would have known. But internally, Lori was running two tracks at once. One was performing. The other was monitoring whether her body was going to interfere. That second track doesn't show up on a calendar, but it has a cost. And Lori had three ways of paying it, and every one of them was reasonable. She relied on her discipline. Discipline had gotten her through every hard year of her career, and discipline is very good at exactly one thing, making you ignore a signal that needs attention. Every time she pushed past it and the day went fine, discipline confirmed the same lesson. Ignoring works. Do it again. The signal didn't go away. It just learned it had to get louder to be heard next time. She relied on her competence. She'd gotten so good at performing while managing her body at the same time that almost nobody, including her, could tell how much effort it was actually taking. That's the cost of competence. It hides the bill. It doesn't lower it. And she relied on her self-control. She could walk into any room and look completely steady, no matter what was happening underneath. That one cost the most because the gap between the calm face and the activated body doesn't close on its own. It widens, and it widens exactly where no one else can see it at the end of the day, with the people closest to her who got whatever was left over once the performance was done. Three real strengths, three reasonable responses, and every single one of them left the actual signal exactly where it started, unheard. Here's the part almost nobody names. It works like a microphone placed too close to a speaker. A small sound enters the system. The speaker amplifies it. The microphone picks up the amplified sound and feeds it back in. The speaker amplifies it again. The original sound may have been small. The loop is what made it large. Not Lori. The loop. Here's what was actually happening to Lori. Underneath the discipline. Underneath the competence. Underneath the self-control. A signal appeared. Tension. A familiar ache. She overrode it. I can handle it. The system got no response, so the signal went unheard. Because it went unheard, it escalated. A little louder, a little more intrusive the next time it appeared. And a response to a louder signal was to push harder, which produce the next signal, tighter every time. That sequence has a name. I call it the override cycle. This isn't random, and it isn't a character flaw. Watch what's actually happening in Lori's system, step by step. First, her nervous system doesn't just feel the tightness, it decides what the tightness means. Is this safe? Is this dangerous? That decision, not the sensation itself, is the first turn of the cycle. Second, once the signal is read as a threat, attention narrows onto it, emotion rises, the body tightens, and a louder signal gets read as more evidence the threat was real. Not because it's actually getting worse, because the system was already looking for proof. And third, the part almost nobody uses under pressure, a signal of safety, breath, posture, a steadier internal message. This one doesn't ask the sensation to disappear. It asks the system to stop treating it as an emergency. 3 steps. I call them the 3 laws of PainShift: interpretation, amplification, regulation. And here's why discipline, competence, and self-control could never get Lori past them. All 3 are extremely good at law 1 and law 2. They interpret fast, and they push through the amplification without flinching. None of them ever supply law 3. None of them ever tell the system it's safe to stand down. So the system never gets the one message it's actually waiting for. There's an old teaching story about a kingdom that learned to protect itself so well. The guard started ringing the alarm bell for every knock at the gate until an advisor finally said, "Wait, the messenger is not the enemy. We need to learn how to listen without turning the whole kingdom into an alarm." For years, most high performers run their body exactly like those guards. Every signal becomes an alarm because no one ever taught the system that a different response was available. The signal is real. The escalation is learned. And what's learned can be retrained. Let that land for a second. Before I show you how retraining actually works, let's take a quick pause, because the next part is where this gets practical. And I want you to actually have it. If this is already making sense of something in your own life, hit like it's the fastest way to help someone else who needs this find it too. And subscribe now if you haven't, because I break down a pattern like this every week. Everything I'm about to walk you through, plus the full method behind it, is in my book, Pain-Free Performance. It's on Amazon, links in the description. If you want to go deeper than one video can take you, okay? Let's get into Law 3. Think of a signal that's present in your body right now, or one from earlier today. Don't fix it, just notice it. Now separate 2 things that have been fused together: the signal and the story. The signal is what your body actually sent: a tightness, an ache, a pressure. The story is everything your mind added on top of it. Is this getting worse? Can I handle today? Will this interfere? Say the signal in 5 words or less. Notice that everything else you just added was story, not signal. That separation alone changes what happens next. Now, Law 3, pause for 1 second. Widen your attention. Let the room back into your awareness, not just the sensation. Soften one place in your body that doesn't need to be braced right now: the jaw, the hands, the shoulders. And offer your system a steadier internal message. Not "this is fine," which your system won't believe. Something more honest. This is a signal. It's familiar. I can stay steady here. That's a start. You didn't override anything, and you didn't push through anything. You gave your system one input. The override cycle never provides proof that it's safe to stop amplifying. One time doesn't retrain a lifetime of training. But it's the same input, repeated, that eventually does. Lori didn't need to become someone who never feels the signal. She needed her system to stop treating the signal as an emergency. When Regulation becomes available, not managed, retrained. The discipline that used to mean ignoring the signal can start meaning something else. Responding to it early while it's still small. The competence that used to hide the cost can stop hiding it because there's no cost left worth hiding. And the self-control that used to be a mask becomes something more honest. A steadiness that doesn't require a performance underneath it for the people who matter enough to deserve the real version. You were never weak for needing to say, I can handle it. The sentence worked. That was always the problem. It worked so well, it never had to be replaced with anything better. Your body does not have to be silent for you to be steady. See you in the next one.